What's going on, guys? This is Tyler, Bass, and Dan here with Anime Degens episode 14. Today, we have a couple fun things we're going to do for you guys. First, we're going to do a review of The Wind Rises, a film from Studio Ghibli. Lastly, we're going to do power systems in the real world. Tyler will explain that for us later, but first, I think we got some news, guys. What's going on?
Yeah, I got some super exciting news. So a couple episodes ago, our last episode, I can't remember. It's all kind of blurring together. We talked about Ash's epic finale, his battle against Leon. And I'm really excited to say that the finale of Pokemon Ultimate Journeys is going to be on Netflix June 23rd. So for everybody not in Canada, you can check it out.
That's lovely. Dedubbed?
Yeah, it'll be dubbed and subbed.
Okay.
No
Okay,
sub.
cool.
No sub. It's
Who
Netflix.
cares about the sub,
It's
bro?
Pokemon. It's dubbed. True. True. You can find the subbed on the
Why'd
internet.
they leave our Canadian brothers out of this? That's cruel.
No, they already have it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No. No.
Yeah, different distribution rights up there up north. And that's why I made the joke when we were watching it. I was like, yeah, we drove up to Canada to watch it because it's not
Here.
illegal.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Also have some super exciting news. May 21st at Mappa Stage 2023, JJK, for you guys who don't know and live under a rock, Jujutsu Kaisen is going to get a season 2 new trailer featuring the opening theme. And knowing JJK, it's going to have a banger. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for season 2 to come out, man. I've been waiting for so long. It feels like the movie was fire. JJK 0. It's just down for anything JJK right now. For sure.
Dude, my head was literally sitting there going, isn't it season 3? And I'm like, no, it's just been that long, man.
It's like that sometimes, man.
Awesome. But let's get right into it. So we're going to start the podcast off with a movie review of The Wind Rises, which is Miyazaki, basically the guy who does all the Studio Ghibli films. It's kind of his swan song. It's his last movie he did. And it was a treat, in my opinion. So to get into the summary, I'll look at the life of Jiro Horikoshi, the man who designed Japanese fighter planes during World War II. An aviation-obsessed engineer named Jiro Horikoshi. That's a little repetitive. Has loved the aesthetics, spirit, and science of flight for as long as he can remember. So first off, I want to just get into the very first scene of this movie because I watched it and I was instantly hooked. How'd you guys feel about the very first scene?
Yeah. I thought it was kind of a weird way to start a movie, honestly, because you don't really know where it's coming from at first, but then after watching the movie, you kind of understand it more, but it is just a kind of weird way to do it. Plus, I want to talk about that the fact that it did not talk. Nobody said anything for 5 minutes.
I did find that weird. I thought it was just going to be animated with no verbalization. But I did like the dream. I think it kind of set up our main character Jiro's whole life, his aspirations, and also what was limiting him. Because during the dream, there's a dark cloud that goes over him while he's flying his plane, and he can't see it. And we also learn later in the story he actually has bad sight. So I think it was great foreshadowing. It kind of set up the story for us really well. But like you said, Tyler, it was mad weird that they didn't say anything for 5 straight minutes.
Yeah, if I didn't, if this, I had seen the show before and I wanted to watch it, but if I wasn't actually watching it for the podcast like we did, I probably wouldn't have kept on watching it, after a couple of minutes if they hadn't said anything, honestly, because I thought that was really weird, in my opinion.
I really enjoyed it because it kind of I got lost in the animation because the scene was stunning. And our boy Jiro here, the story started with a dream sequence. He climbs up on his roof and he gets in a plane that resembles a bird. So Jiro and our boy Aaron from Attack on Titan both have a thing for birds. You know, they both got a thing for flight.
For
They
sure.
both got a thing for freedom. And it starts off with him flying this plane that resembles like a seagull through the town, and everybody's waving at him. And it's a really, really just well animated scene. The visuals were stunning. And coming from an engineering background, like that's what every little kid dreams of who loves science and technology. You know, you want to build planes, you want to build trains, you want to build cars, you want to do something like that, you know? So that really hit home for me. Like that's what I grew up wanting to do. So I absolutely loved it.
Oh no way, man. Yeah, I when I was in high school, I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer so bad. So this also identified with me, and I was like, wow, this is a kid chasing his dreams. Guys, I am not an aeronautical engineer. I don't design airplanes, so it was good to see somebody that actually followed up on those aspirations.
Yeah, I'm just an industrial engineer. I couldn't cut it in the big leagues, but we do what we got to do now. We're both in engineering sales.
Yes. But yeah, no, I really liked how weird it was. In the first opening minutes, like I really had to look up. I was like, is this a quiet film? You know what I'm saying? I like when directors do off speed things like that, just so it's a little different. Oh, it really, really drew me in, and the animation was also really, really great. Just to open up, you know.
Definitely. I think that's the scene that just pulled me into the movie, and it did so well right at the beginning. And I was like, I'm going to love this, dude. This is going to be great. And I'm really glad that I picked it for us to watch. Sorry, guys.
It was a great find, Dan. Like for real.
I was actually kind of surprised that you picked something like this because it's more based. It's kind of like a romance based movie as well, based on like the description and stuff. So yeah, I was kind of shocked, honestly.
Yeah. So actually, if you guys didn't know, this movie is actually a blending of two different stories. So
Okay.
there is a novel written in 1930s Japan that was really popular called The Wind Has Risen,
Hmm.
which kind of took the story of his wife who had tuberculosis and brought that into it. That never happened in Jiro's actual life. So it was a blending of two stories.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that at all.
I got you.
But
But
awesome. So I guess to get into it, we're not going to talk about the plot too much. We're going to talk about the themes, you know, kind of stuff like that, because we don't want to spoil the movie for you. And I think we all recommend you check it out. I've never seen a Studio Ghibli movie that I didn't like.
they're all bangers.
But what
Right,
did you
right.
guys think that the theme of the movie was?
Uh, Me, I thought it was like somewhere along lines of always strive for your dreams, but don't forget to live while doing it. That's kind of what I got out of this movie.
Yeah.
What about you, Bass?
I'm thinking along the same lines there. He really went after his dreams. He chased them wholeheartedly. Even later in the movie, he just doesn't give up on it. No matter how many setbacks, he's a really smart guy, um, even in his own profession. But he has setbacks in his personal life. He doesn't let that stop him. He helps others along the way, just like you said, Tyler. But something that I found that was really, really touching is like, if when in a lot of movies you just get one side to a person. Talks about his relationship with his sister, um, woman that he loves, his coworkers, his boss. I just thought it was really cool how they took his whole life into account throughout the movie. As far as the theme, I think it is just go after for your dreams. You know, the wind is rising, y'all.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. You know, when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking that Mr. Caproni, the Italian aeronautical engineer that he hangs out with during his dream sequences, was pretty much a foil for the theme. You know, the whole basis of this movie is that airplanes are just the dreams of engineers. And Mr. Caproni is like the guy for that in the film. I mean, he's doing some crazy shit with airplanes. Like he's putting like triple decker wings on them and loaded his whole factory into it and everything else. And there was one line that really just stood out to me because in engineering, there's a lot of that gray area with what is ethical and what is not. And I mean, if you talk about planes during World War II, especially when you bring Japan into it. There's a lot of ethics.
Yes, of course.
So Jiro was on the engineering team that designed the A6M0, I think it was,
A6M0, I believe that is correct. Yes.
which was actually the plane that was used to attack Pearl Harbor. So it brings in that ethical dilemma of engineering. You see it all the time with nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, all that kind of stuff. But he says a line, Mr. Caproni does, that's, would you rather live in a world with pyramids or without them? And that's basically, would you rather see humanity push the limit of their knowledge and their abilities to grow and develop, or would you rather them stay at the status quo? And I think that was like a major theme of this movie.
Okay, I can
Yeah,
see
that's a
that.
good take to it. Yeah, that I think that's also a part of it. I'm trying not to get too much into the actual story, um, but just the interplay between um, the Italian Mr. Caproni and our main hero Jiro in that dream world is phenomenal. He even meets his family, and he gets to see all his creations. And as we're in World War II, era, where actually the movie starts in the time between World War I and World War II, and that area is so much more bright and vibrant. And there's a bunch of different designs because pretty much all their little ideas they have in their head just go to this place. That's very apparent from the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything for you. Um, it's cool to see how that changes throughout the entire movie. Like, did you guys notice that at all? Like at the end, it was a little different. I'm not gonna say how it was, but it was a little different.
Yeah, and I think the movie did a really good job kind of wrapping it up with that ethical dilemma that I mentioned, because it kind of brought in the dark side of the aeronautical engineering profession during that period of time. And I thought it was beautifully, like the way they just displayed it, through animation was very beautiful.
Yes, it was something oddly touching about this movie to me. Um, Obviously, there was the relationship with Jiro and his girl, but I don't know what made me so emotionally attached to the engineering side of it as well. Maybe it's my own personal dreams that I couldn't make into the real world, but it was just something that I feel really attached to this movie. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, I think a lot of people can see themselves in Jiro in ways, or at least who we aspire to be. I think if not right now, it's at one point in most people's lives, they think they can achieve anything. And Jiro goes and does that. He says it, he does it. He also is a good person along the way. And I think people want to feel like they're good people as well. So like it's hard not to root for the man, and I identify him with him in so many different ways.
And
Yeah,
and the thing is that I liked a lot about this is that in the beginning, Jiro wanted to actually fly the planes. Let's not forget that.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
because he couldn't do it, because of his eyesight, he strove to um, be what he is, and he actually became a prodigy. Wouldn't you say he was looked at as like a prodigy of
yeah. I mean, he is.
the engineering world?
Yeah, I mean, historically, he is
Yeah.
one of the greatest aeronautical engineers in history. I mean, he's the one who basically worked with his team to develop the dragless rivet used on metal planes, which is still used today. So, I mean, he was very instrumental in the aeronautical engineering field.
So I
Um,
really liked that they showed that aspect of it. It just basically saying just don't give, like, even if you can't do one dream, maybe you can alter it and do even better in a different dream, but still have the same kind of dream. So
yeah,
It,
definitely.
it was it was it was beautiful in that way. And guys, like, yeah, I love that it had that historical aspect to it. Um, this is one of, like, I know a lot of people study like World War II and World War One, and they look at videos and listen to podcasts about it. But coming up, the First and Second World Wars, Japan, 60 years before that was, Zero says it is a backwards country, right? They weren't very developed technically, weren't very industrialized, Jiro was a big part of industrializing them. He created best planes, right? Which I thought it was really cool, but was awesome because while Japan was actually learning some industrial skills from the Germans, the rest of the world was terrified of Japan in the war. And even before that, in the Russia Japanese war, because they had pretty much taken 200 years of European industrialization and done it in 50 years.
Yeah,
Cool to see like a hero that helped them do something like that.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, besides that, they were also terrified of the Japanese because they would do anything to please the emperor, including crash planes into ships and everything else. I mean, the Japanese military is insane when you do a little research into it. No other country had a word for kamikaze. I mean, literally just using your plane as a bomb. So they do anything for the emperor, man. And that's one of the big reasons that people were so afraid of them, you know?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
So, did you guys like the inclusion of the other story, "The Wind Has Risen," the novel? Basically, the introduction of the character Nahoko, his wife. I know
Yeah,
Tyler did.
I mean, if it wasn't for that, this show would have. I mean, people that really enjoyed like the engineering side, like y'all,
Mhm.
would have still loved the show. I think because it done a very good job at showing the engineering side and what kind of work and process it is. They done a really good job at that, but uh, as with anything, it kind of needs a little bit more, for the rest of the world. You know what I mean? That's when you add in a little bit of drama with some romance, and they do a very good job with that. They kind of ease it in there, and and it makes it the themes that I talked about that I thought it talked about, you know even better. It makes you look at it even better, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. I think the inclusion of the personal side of the fictional recreation of his character was necessary. I mean, it kind of showed both sides of it. And there was one scene with the paper plane at the hotel that was fucking adorable, dude. I love that. That was really,
Yeah.
really fun.
Was phenomenal. Yeah.
Hey,
Um,
I thought she was gonna fall off the roof sometimes,
I
bro.
thought they were both gonna fall off the roof, man.
Like, what are y'all doing?
Hero
But yeah,
almost did at one point. He was holding on by a thread there.
yeah,
The fact that they did both of those things, like the engineering side and then that personal side to him and that entire story in 2 hours was great writing. That's extremely great storytelling. We're always talking about Studio Ghibli, and we always say something about the animation, but the writing for this was also phenomenal.
Yeah,
And it
definitely,
also
man.
is great. It is freaking great dubbed, by the way, guys.
Yeah, it has John Krasinski, it has Martin Short, it has Emily Blunt. Like the cast is stellar. I was laughing the entire time because Hanjo, who was played by or voiced by John Krasinski, who is Jiro's best friend, I was like, this isn't the John Krasinski I know. So it's kind of weird to see, you know?
and y'all both watched it dubbed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I
I don't
watched the sub just because y'all was watching it dubbed and I prefer sub, better. And I thought the sub was amazing as well. So
I don't know if did you guys watch it on HBO Max?
yeah.
Oh, so it did have an
Yeah, I
option
did
for
too.
subtitled? Okay,
Yeah.
because I like just was like, okay, it started in English. I'm watching it in English. I'm too lazy to figure this shit out. I don't use this often.
I started in dub too and listened to a little bit of it and I thought it, sounded pretty good too. But I was like, well, since the boys are listening to it in dubbed, I'm gonna listen to it in sub that way to see if it's actually, pretty decent still too. So
Man did
it
it for
is.
science. Love
Yeah.
that. Love that.
Love that. So, did you guys have a favorite character in the movie?
My favorite character is probably Kurakawa, which was um Jiro's boss, the one with the bouncy hair. I love that dude. The hair, man.
He was like a great person. I like that he came off as like a hard ass a little bit, but he was a good person. He did a lot of pivotal things throughout the story.
Man,
He was a good pick, man.
the dude's 2 foot tall, and he walks like he's 8 foot tall, and his hair like bounces another 3 foot. I'm sure. So
Yeah, I mean the crazy thing with Kurokawa is like we saw him as like a hard ass manager on top of all his staff at the engineering firm Mitsubishi. But we also saw him like there's a scene where they have the wedding between Jiro and Nahoko, and he's like a whole different person through this whole thing. You know, he's like trying to be a hard ass, but then you see some really cute shit. So it's like this movie did a great job showing a lot of multiple sides of multiple characters.
yeah,
I,
I
I
don't
don't
think
really
Kira.
remember. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't think Kurokawa would have been so nice to Jiro if he hadn't have panned out. But Jiro being the prodigy he is, you know, he done a lot of shit for Kurokawa. So
I was gonna say when the Golden Boys writing your paychecks, pretty much like you're
yeah.
good to go, man. Do what you got to do for them.
What was you gonna
Oh,
say,
for
Bess?
sure. I think they did a great job in this film. There were like no really real like tropey characters. They seemed, they seemed like they could be real. Um, no one person was really just like a bunch of comic relief. There was like no just like stereotypical character. They were all very like well rounded to me. They acted like you would expect real people to act.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
that was
definitely,
really good.
man.
Who's
Yeah,
your
and it was
favorite
kind.
character, Dan?
Mine was Mr. Caproni. I just loved him as a character,
Okay.
dude. He was so
Fire.
like just the epitome of like human creation, in my opinion. Like he was just excited. He always wanted to see like his designs work out, and he designed some really fun looking airplanes. I mean, like historically, even if like I went and looked into a little bit, he designed some crazy fucking shit. So seeing him added as kind of a foil to the overall theme of the movie was really good in my opinion. And I just loved how there was just some random Italian guy out of nowhere the entire time.
So
um, yeah.
I got a little question about that. I want y'all's opinion on it. Do y'all think that the dream world was actually two interconnected worlds of Caproni's and Jiro's, or do you think it was all Jiro just in his own dream world and thinking that he was in a combined shared dream world?
I think, I mean, realistically, if you had to think about it, it was probably the latter. And I think that Jiro read and just absorbed so much from Caproni and his like lifestyle and how he did his job through reading the magazines and everything else that he kind of
Okay.
created this fictional character in his mind. But knowing Studio Ghibli, it's probably the first one, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the first one just because it's cooler. Keep it a buck with y'all, bro.
I mean that's wild for somebody to just stumble upon having one of the greatest engineers in your dreams.
I was going to say it's more wild that there's a shared dream world specific to aeronautical engineers and children who aspire to be that. But
I mean, I didn't say it was realistic, but like it's way cooler that way. It's
definitely.
The story's way cooler that way. You guys
But
have any
yeah,
favorite moment? Well, actually, I'm gonna give you my favorite character. Dan took mine. Mr. Caproni was phenomenal. I thought he was like a star of the show. Um, my sleeper pick, I'm gonna go with my sleeper pick is Kiro Hanjo. It was our main character's best friend.
okay,
I'm gonna
I
say
got
that
you.
because one, he was a really good friend. Um, Hero
And
tried to give him some designs, and he would not take them. He said, "You should use this on your own." He was very supportive of them when they were just starting out at Mitsubishi. Um, I think he played like a critical role in Jiro's life, if that's a real character.
And I
Probably
think
not,
that he
but
was kind of a prodigy himself, honestly, but he kind of got overshadowed by Jiro,
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
say overshadowed. I mean, they just worked on different projects. I
Yeah.
mean, Hanjo's design was for a bomber, and Jiro was working on a fighter plane, which were both instrumental to
Yeah.
Japan's efforts in World War II.
Well, what I'm saying is he had the capabilities of being the main character if he wanted to be,
Yeah,
But Jiro was there.
you could definitely probably make a movie about him too. I mean,
I
Yeah.
was about to say he's definitely the main character of his own story for sure. I mean, he's also a real Japanese designer of planes, and I mean, he can stand on his own feet. He's also a genius.
and
Yeah.
the man loved his hoons, dude. I think he asked for. I think that man asked for a cigarette like 17 times in this movie.
He
He's a
was
hoon
ripping
dog.
darts, bro. He
Dude,
went in
he's
the
a hoon
ashtray at
dog.
one point, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta chill, dog."
Jiro passing out the cigarettes like candy, bro. Like,
I was gonna say, I also
I just looked up Kiro. He was born in 1901. He didn't die till 1990.
Wow.
Yes.
Long life,
So
bro.
that's a great long life. He I just wanted to point that out. That's amazing.
I
just
also
love how many real people are in this. Sorry for cutting you
Yeah.
off. Go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. I also really like Kastrup, the German dude at the hotel retreat. He was a really fun character too.
Yeah.
And I really loved that he pulled out his German cigarettes and the smoke was a different color. And I was like, oh, baby, this boy's smoking some green. I thought it was just that German tobacco.
Yeah, it was. I did notice it was a different color. I thought that was a nice touch. Little subtle things like that, I really enjoy about this movie.
Definitely. So I guess kind of the last thing I'd like to get into is there was a phrase repeated a lot through the movie, and it was, "Is the wind still rising?" And I thought it was really interesting to look at because there was a point where Mr. Caproni said it to Jiro while he was designing these planes, and I think it was kind of like a way to say, like, do you still have like the want and desire to design planes right now, even though you know what they're going to be used for? And I thought it just continued to really bring that ethical conversation to the forefront that they kind of hid. Like, they never really brought it up, but you knew it was there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that like is the wind, like whenever they kept on saying is the wind still rising, I kind of thought it meant something like life kept going, but you must keep going too. That's kind of what I felt like it meant, but you know, did y'all feel
Yeah.
about the same way?
I think it had a bunch of different meanings to it because there were multiple characters who said it. I mean, I think Nahoko said it at one point, and I think it meant a different thing than what I just said. Kind of like what Tyler was saying. It's like, are you still happy with your life and where it's going? So it's kind of really interesting to see like how they worked that angle with the same phrase multiple different ways.
Yeah, it seemed like it means something different to each different character in different situations. When Jiro was, had a freaking brain blast, like he would say, "Oh, the wind is rising." Maybe when he was in a tough spot, or if somebody was in a tough spot, they would say, "Is the wind still rising?" It's just, I think that's a pretty good all-encompassing phrase, and you can apply it how you want to.
So
I'm gonna start saying it all the time, dude. Gonna be calling Bass at a rough day, be like, "Bro, is the wind still rising? I'm dying."
Of course it is, brother.
I got one more thing. Caproni kept on telling Jiro that you got 10 years of sunshine, and just kept on saying like 10 years of sunshine, make it count, blah blah blah. What did y'all think he meant by that?
What he was saying,
go for
I thought was, when you're a musician, an artist, or an engineer, you have a 10-year period where you're most creative, right? And that's when you can be ultra successful. But after you're successful for say 10 years, you're gonna start repeating some things that you've already done because I guess you're mentally aging out of that creativity phase.
Okay,
That's what I thought.
so yeah,
that's
a
what I thought
normie
as
like
well.
me don't understand stuff like that, so so I was just trying to figure out what's up with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I think Yeah, Jiro used this 10 years very, very well, but I think that can also be a real thing though.
Okay.
Um, that is actually a real thing with artists. Your actual skill level can increase over time, but at some point, I think you stop being as creative. Like you think about an artist like today, like a singer. I'm trying to say. Um, Usually, unless you're Michael Jackson, like usually the first half of your career is like way better than the second half. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just things like that. If somebody works at a company for a very, very long time, they show up in their, quote unquote, bright eyed and bushy tailed. When they're 55, they're ready to get the hell up out of there. It's just
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that.
Well, exactly like that. Like what you're saying is, burnout is a very real thing. And I mean, you see so many musical artists, and after 15 years, what do they play when they're going on tour? Their greatest hits album, you know?
Right. Exactly.
And unless they reinvent themselves and kind of find that vigor again, like they're not gonna keep progressing like they did through that 10-year. I'm not gonna say it's a 10-year period, but like that period of time, you know?
Yeah, he just put a number to it. It's different for everybody.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
So I guess the last thing we should get into is a little rating.
yeah, 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 yeah. I'll go first. I will go first here. First of all, this was out of the films that we've reviewed. This is by far my favorite, like hands down, no contest.
Really? Okay.
Yes, yes. Not another one touched this for me. I was emotionally touched during this viewing. Um, I'm gonna give this. Try not to go too high to leave room for other films, but I'm gonna go a 9.3.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
It was just the writing, the visuals, the concepts, the characters is just everything for me, man.
Do you think that if you wasn't like an engineer or your job that you would have it as high as that?
My former dream job, um, maybe not. I can't say because it is that way. Um, but there were things outside of like just the engineering that I liked. I
Okay.
tried to name some of those things because obviously a fan of great design and engineering marvels. I get to look at production machines all day, and it keeps me happy. You know what I'm saying? So there's definitely that part, and I see what you're saying, Tyler. But I think it's the entire film and how it was put together was impressive.
I got you. I guess I'll go second. I think it's somewhere around a 7.5 range for me. It's a really solid show.
Movie.
I like the whole movie. I thought it done the engineering industry justice. Showing somebody that doesn't know a whole lot about it, what's going on, and it also, you know, I didn't really like the end of it the best. I thought there was better ways to handle that, but for the sake of the show, I understand.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think with the end, they wanted to leave what actually happened graphically out of it.
Yeah.
So they
No,
didn't
I
want to
mean,
show how
like,
the planes were actually used, you know?
not
Yeah.
not like showing the end of it, but the way, you know, things left, you know what I mean? To keep it spoiler free.
I gotcha. Okay.
So did you feel like there was like no closure to the story? Is that what you mean? 'Cause
I
I
felt
can see
like
how
there
you
was
feel
better.
that.
I understand her reasoning, for somewhat, but
Mm.
it's kind of selfish. I think to try to try to uh, do go the route she went. I guess you can say in
I'm gonna
some
go
ways.
on that take. I'm gonna go the polar opposite way, and what she did was probably one of the most loving things she could do.
Think so?
Because, yeah, in that sense, I
Thought
mean,
so.
with what she was going through, if you think about it, that would have been such a distraction for Jiro, and he had such a pivotal job to do. So I feel like her doing that was a massive sign of love.
But at some point, you have to choose. Which one. Yeah, I mean, when you're in that situation, you have to let Jiro choose that. You can't just take it upon yourself to choose that for him.
I think he understood it, and one of the worst things you can do to your significant other is get in the way of their dreams. And I think what she did was, I mean, it sucked, but I think it was like the right thing to do, and I really enjoyed the closure in the final scenes after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really brave of her. That's what I
Gotcha.
thought. Um,
I mean, it's definitely brave. It's just I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I get that.
this
I
is the
could definitely
guy.
get that. That's a very polarizing thing, right?
Yeah, and Tyler's the guy too who wants closure, like dead nuts, everything. So he doesn't like to have anything left unanswered.
Buddy Daddies season
Yeah,
2.
yeah, that's what I'm bringing up.
Yep.
He wants a whole season 2 slice of life show.
Oh shit. Okay. What
And let's
about you,
get to your
Dan?
rating, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I had it at an 8.3.
Okay.
I loved the visuals. I loved the story. There wasn't anything bad with it. It's just I don't like giving 9s out lightly.
I got you.
Like I don't give
That's fair.
my favorite anime has a 9. So like
Okay.
I don't give out 9s lightly, man. I mean, that's just my scale. But yeah, this movie was stunning. It was beautiful. The voice acting was great on the dub side, and just the story was riveting. I mean, like I was hooked. I mean, I fell asleep watching it first time because I was dead tired, had to make it up the rest second day. But
Mhm.
it was incredible. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it is a swan song of the probably greatest anime like director and storyteller there has ever been. So
And
That's
we
wonderful.
watched it on HBO Max, by the way. If y'all didn't catch that, I don't think it's on anything else, or I couldn't find it on anything else.
yeah, I
Unless
know
you get on the ship.
HBO Max has the whole Studio Ghibli portfolio, I
Oh,
guess
wow.
if you want to call it. So yeah,
Oh,
no, definitely an incredible movie, man. I was hooked from the start, and I might go watch it a second time, watch it subbed, honestly, because I really enjoyed it that much.
yeah, subbed
Yeah.
is really good. So
Okay. Yeah, I might go back and do that, but I think another anime movie is gonna have a hard time topping that one for me. I watched it twice this weekend. I'm not even
Okay.
gonna. Yeah, I watched it twice. I thought it was just.
I still think like it was on par with like Spirited Away for me, like just a different kind of
Really?
movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Spirited Away, dude. That is probably one of my favorite anime movies there has ever been. I mean, that everything from Studio Ghibli is incredible. So
Me personally, I like Spirited Away better because it just had a lot of different elements to it. You know, you never knew what was going to happen, really. But
yeah, I mean that's the fun part of looking at a very whimsical fantasy
yeah,
story versus a historical drama,
yeah.
and they were both
It's
fantastic in their
very,
own
very
way.
different. Yes. Very, very true. Huh.
But how do you
I
guys
didn't.
feel?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about getting to the next topic? Unless you got anything else, Bass.
Oh, I was just surprised that you guys had Spirited Away up there with this, but that's my personal opinion. Let's go. Let's go.
I think Spirited Away has a special place in my heart because I watched it so many times and I saw it when I was a kid. Like
Oh,
seeing that
okay,
movie when
okay.
you're a lot younger, really just it's fucking awesome, dude.
I got you.
Gotcha,
Well,
gotcha.
I guess if y'all want to, we can get into the next segment. It's called Power Systems in the Real World. So what we're gonna do here is we're each gonna pick a power system that we think that we would like to have in the real world. Um, so it's a pretty simple concept, you know. Uh, Me personally, uh, this topic's kind of similar to the one we did a while back, which where we picked which world we'd want to live in, and I picked My Hero back then, but only because we was gonna live in that world. So this time we're picking the power system that we like to have in our world, and my pick is chakra and jutsu from Naruto. And I really wanted to choose this one back then, but Naruto's a messed up world, y'all.
I mean,
So,
My Hero is
It
too,
really
also,
is, man.
man.
but My Hero, like I talked about back then, My Hero only got messed up towards the end. And to say something about that now, since we kind of know something else about what's going on, is we only was looking at Japan back then when I talked about it. We know that there's now other countries, and we know that they are safe. So obviously, I would be living under Miss America's wings. You know what I mean? So I'm good, bro. I'm chilling.
And say he's protected by America, mom, and he's straight.
Yeah, I'm chilling, bro.
Fair
So
assessment. Fair
yeah.
assessment.
So
Like, yeah, to your point, like the Naruto world has been screwed up the entire time
yeah, it
from the
doesn't
get go.
stop. It
Yeah,
got better when Naruto became Hokage, but
it's only for a little
it
bit. You know what I'm
it
saying?
jumped it jumped ahead like a lot, but it's one thing after another, bro. So I staying away from that. So
So
um
my big question here is, when the fuck are you gonna use ninjutsu in your real normal life day?
but it okay, so there's actually a lot of ninjutsu and techniques that you can use in real life. And to get into that, you know, uh, I'm going to talk about chakra first because, chakra is kind of like, the energy source used in Naruto. And it enables them to use all the different forms of jutsus and techniques and whatever you want to use. It's kind of like a mixture of it's kind of like stamina for the non-anime eyes. You know what I mean? So it's like a stamina mix and like a spiritual energy type of thing. Um, so there is a limited source to this, but the thing about chakra is that if you train hard and you work on it, you can actually expand your chakra limits through that. So you're not stuck with just one thing, one base limit the whole time, like you would be in some other shows. But so that's a massive benefit in my eyes. But going back to what Dan talked about is what jutsu and techniques or whatever would we use in the real world? Well, my personal favorite would be shadow clone jutsu. So, because
Okay.
yeah, so like imagine all the stuff that you could do with shadow clones. So this allows you to summon clone. For those that don't know, this allows you to summon clones of yourself that have the same knowledge and skills that you have, and you're able to use them, for whatever you want to use them for. So you can increase your efficiency for like if you're like construction, like manufacturing, like anything where you need people, or you can even use them for like knowledge purposes. Like you can have them study for you, help you learn stuff, because once you call them back, you retain all the knowledge and information that they have seen and done throughout the day, throughout their time. So that's pretty cool.
So
That's
you brought up
uh,
construction. So what happens when one of your shadow clones is up on the rafters of a building being built, and he accidentally puts a nail through his thumb while holding up a rafter and just poofs into the air, and the thing falls and just injures somebody else? I mean, there's a lot to think about with that, you know?
and that's a good point. If they wasn't shadow clones down below, then
Hmm.
my second jutsu will come into play, and that is medical jutsu. You can use medical jutsu and techniques to actually save people's lives and actually do techniques that would be very dangerous or not even achievable in the real world right now. But with the medical ninjutsu techniques that Naruto has, like the sky's the limit, bro. So that's two things that's like above and beyond of stuff that is crazy beneficial to, the real world. So
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I think is really interesting about this pick is the fact that chakra as well as ninjutsu are both very prominently used throughout history. I mean, if you go to Buddhist cultures and Taoist cultures and other cultures in Asia, that's essentially part of like their everyday history. So I think it's really interesting that like Naruto took that and gave it their own spin on it, and that's what you want in real life, you know?
yeah, I mean, this is a better choice than like playing like when I picked My Hero, we all talked about the quirk lottery, or if you picked One Piece, you'd be talking about luck of getting to be able to get a decent devil fruit, actually having the knowledge to pick a good devil fruit or see one that that would be good. So with this, like almost any ninjutsu technique can be learned and can be trained with some exceptions, obviously, some things are hereditary and, some things you can't
Sure.
do, but for the most part, everything can, if you strive hard enough, you can learn them and be able to use them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're not all out here with a Susanoo or anything crazy like
Yeah.
that, but
So,
There are
like,
some people in Naruto that can't mold chakra and therefore can't use ninjutsu though.
yeah,
Everyone
but
has chakra because every living thing has it, but that doesn't mean you can do jutsu.
that's true, but those are very rare cases, in the world of Naruto, and it would
I
No,
probably
I
there's
be
I
more
wouldn't.
regular people than ninjas.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't say it's very rare. I think it's just the show focused on the ninjas. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
there's
think
actually
about
way more regular people.
all the people who
but
lived
they
in the
don't
Leaf
try hard
Village,
enough.
hey man, just let them make ramen, dude.
They ain't trying hard enough, bro. Look, me
Rocket
personally,
Lee would
I would
like to have a
be,
discussion with you, dog.
hey, me
I
personally, I would be just fine with just shadow clone jutsus. That's me. Like I'm lazy, bro. Just let me have my shadow clone jutsus. Let it go
his
get some
house,
food from the fridge or something. I don't know,
dude. If you were abusing your shadow clones by making them go grab you a sandwich out of the fridge, they would
bro.
just turn on your ass eventually.
Bro, imagine how much anime I could watch with shadow clone jutsus. I could have like them just watch different shows and then recall them, and it would be like me watching it for the first time.
But you wouldn't get
It
the
would be the
enjoyment of it.
same, huh?
Nah.
I don't
Yes,
think it'd be the same as actually
you
watching it yourself.
when you recall it to yourself, you get the same feeling that it felt.
You just
You
get the
know,
memories, the
and
experience. Like you
that
don't actually get to
that's
experience it
but
yourself.
But looking back on One Piece, I really enjoyed, watching it for the first time. And that's all it is the enjoyment of a memory, you know? So I would be doing the same thing basically.
Memory
I
fake
think
news.
yeah, I think I would want to personally watch it on that one.
But I would be personally watching it,
Nah,
I would
technically.
personally watch
ain't
One
the same.
Piece.
I mean, I would I'm not gonna say it. I would do a lot of things to rewatch One Piece for the first time.
Yeah, please
R.I.P.
don't go
Bass,
into
I
that,
guess,
dog. Don't go into that.
Uh,
Awesome. Well,
Another thing, well, I was going to say another big thing about the Naruto ninjutsu stuff is that you can actually manipulate the elements as well, and that could come in handy as well. Manipulating water and earth, and even fire in some scenarios.
well,
You know,
you can only do one though. You can't do them all unless
well,
you're
I'm
the
just
Avatar.
saying, as a world, that's not really true. Look at Kakashi, bro.
He's a different animal, dude. There's only
Yeah,
one
I would be
Kakashi.
Kakashi. I would be the
Hiruzen can
main
use all the
character.
chakra natures too. You're talking about elites. Those are elite people. A lot of the
I
elite
am
people can use all
elite.
the chakra natures.
I don't have to worry.
This man on his fucking high horse over here, dude. I am
I'm a 5-star
Kakashi.
man.
I am a 5-star man.
And to top it all off, I didn't even talk about like the Sharingan, Byakugan, ceiling jutsus, genjutsus,
Wait,
transformation jutsus. Like all that shit can be used in like espionage and like, law enforcement fields and all
Yeah,
kinds of shit,
but Tyler, your last name isn't Uchiha or any of those. So like
Hey,
you ain't getting those powers, bro.
bro, I am him.
But to your point, Tyler, like even in the story, Hagoromo created jutsu and gave the humans the ability to mold chakra to make their lives easier
Yeah.
for this, so they could connect. They ended up going to war and causing great devastation, but your point, it was created to make their lives easier in the first place.
Yeah, and I think that this is a really good one to make lives easier, and it would make a lot of things efficient if you would just, you might have to mold it to, you know, this world's, cut, uh, ways, culture, I guess, to make it
Mm.
beneficial for us. But overall, I think this is a really good choice. Plus, Naruto's I'm just Naruto fan, bro.
Awesome, man. Well, since Bass's is going to take about 14 hours to describe, I guess I'll go next. So, there were a lot of shows I could have picked for what I wanted. So my idea was I'd like magic. But I mean, you got Fairy Tale, you've got Mashle, which we've talked about, you got Magi. But just to get under Bass's skin a little bit, I obviously picked Black Clover.
Great,
Yes,
guys.
we're gonna
You guys.
surpass our limits
bro.
today, boys.
What
Hell
a
yeah.
But no, I picked it because it was a new gen show. I know a lot of people who watch anime nowadays or have watched or are watching Black Clover, and we enjoy making fun of it a little bit on the podcast. But it's a really great show. So basically, in Black Clover, when a citizen of this world turns 15, they're able to attend a grimoire acceptance ceremony in the month of March, and they get a magic little book. What's in that book? Who fucking knows, man? There's 3 types that we've seen. There's the 3-leaf, which is the standard old book. There's the 4-leaf, which is very, very rare. 4-leaf clovers are obviously lucky. And then there is the 5-leaf grimoire of our boy Asta. And in the 5th leaf lives the devil. Not going to go into too much details, but that's the gist of how the grimoires work. There's a bunch of different types of magic, and each person gets an affinity based on what grimoire they get. So some people get really useful magic, some people don't. If I had to pick one, I was going with, it's called Kotodama magic. It belongs to one of the devils they fight during the elf reanimation arc, Zagreef. And basically what he can do is he can create anything he wants by just saying or thinking the word.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here at my desk, and if I wanted a beer, I just think beer, and it pops up next to me. So it'd be pretty fucking useful for my everyday life,
That'd be true,
Yeah. I want a Lamborghini in the driveway. Oh, there it is. I want a new TV. Oh, there it is. I want
There has
this.
to be
Boom.
some kind of limits to that, right?
Nah, dude, he's got broken as shit magic.
That's wild. So what else would be useful? That's one thing.
That's
It'd be
it.
useful for me. I don't care about anyone else. You know that.
He's
No,
over here
it-
talking about me,
you were just
going
telling
crazy.
Tyler. Yeah, you was just telling Tyler he was gonna be regular. You're gonna be regular.
All right, then I'm gonna get the ability to shoot fire, or shoot water, or do wind magic, or something cool, and I could find out how to adapt it, man. So here's
Man,
my
got party tricks on deck.
my big spiel of this thing is honestly, I don't want any anime powers in my real life because 95% of the time, anime powers are used to kill and lead to vicious wars. And I like my simple fucking life, man. I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that
fair
goes
enough.
without saying, though. Any of these powers that we could have picked, it's gonna obviously introduce, major villains and major, powers that are used, for not good. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, old Tyler's living here in the Leaf Village, and he's gonna get leveled by pain, and then somehow they're gonna have an ass pole with some bring everybody back to life
Where's
jutsu. You know,
where's
like,
my Hinata? Just give me my Hinata.
hey man, I want Tsunade, but what's up?
Solid choices, boys.
But like, yeah, my thing with this is like, this was really hard for me to pick because I was trying to think of the destructive side of everything, and I couldn't find
Right.
one that didn't have that from the shows that I've watched.
There's no destructive power in like the narratives of all these shows. There's no stakes. So that's fair.
So I was just kind of like, you know what? I just want some magic. You know, whatever I get's going to be pretty cool. I mean, there's only been like one person in the entire Black Clover world born without magic. And of course, it happens to be our main character.
Asta.
But like the magic from Mashle be fucking tight. The magic from Fairy Tail be really cool. I mean, like in Fairy Tail, everyone can use magic, but most people just use it for like a normal life, except for the guilds who use it to do adventuring and, you know, take jobs and all that kind of shit. So you could just give me any magic. I'd be good with it. I wasn't really too picky on that front. I just figured I'd say Black Clover because it grind Bass's gears a little bit.
Well,
Hey, I don't appreciate that.
at least in Black Clover, you don't die for not having any magic. So like
That is
Mashle.
true. Yeah, if I was
That
It's
born
nice.
just
That is really nice.
if I was just born a lame ass person, I'd be shunned
Yeah.
for me yelling, "I want to be the Wizard King" 77 times per episode.
That
Hey,
did get old. That did get old.
he stops yelling it, you know, eventually, you know, and then
Stop
Asta
yelling when
and
I
you
turned it
know
off.
start yelling in
great.
unison, you know. So
But one thing I was thinking, and that's with any magic anime, is like what you get is pretty much luck of the draw. So like it'd be really interesting to see how like the daily dynamic of life would change on that. Obviously, if people had magic, I don't think we'd live in a world that we live in now. So I think it'd be really interesting to see how it would turn out, you know?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I do think that is true.
Especially with how fucked up everything is already. I mean, shit. Put
the world wouldn't exist, bro. It'd be like Naruto, you know, except Naruto wouldn't save everybody from pain or Madara.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we're all fucked regardless if there's an anime power system in our lives. So, because we're all pretty normal people.
Yeah,
And I'm not
just a guy.
Goku.
Just a guy with a mic.
Honestly, I fucked up, dude. I should have just said Yu-Gi-Oh.
oh,
I could have banned people to the Shadow Realm, baby.
oh,
Anybody can banish people to the Shadow Realm. That's scary as all hell.
No, I'd have to get really lucky and find like the Millennium Eye or some shit, dude. You know, you'd have to get a little
Yeah,
lucky with
fair.
that. My
That's
my
true.
my great grandfather would have had to be an archaeologist back in Egypt in the 1920s.
you know, speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, you know what would have been really cool? Probably was somebody picked Pokemon. You know, that power system, because that means Pokemon, you know, they would have had to come into the world as well, right?
So I wanted to pick Pokemon, but it wasn't really a power system. It's more of what anime world I'd want to live in, you know?
That's fine,
Have you
but
guys seen
we
the
could make it
Pokédex
a
entries? That sounds terrifying.
bro. We can make that a
True.
power system. This is our podcast. We can do what we
This is our
want.
podcast, Dan.
I was actually, if you guys want the honest answer, I was so close to picking Digimon and just going to the digital world, dude. It's my own little isekai.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Awesome. What do you got for us, Bass?
Cool. So yeah, guys, I went with a complicated ass system, Nin from Hunter x Hunter.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, it really simplified it with Tyler going first because Chakra was inspired by Nin. So instead of having like the 5 elements that you can control and do different jutsu, there's 5 different types of aura. And so this is what we call Nin, and it's a technique that allows a living being to manipulate their own life force or energy. And the energy is referred to as aura. So instead of chakra, aura. Same thing, really. Same thing. But like I said, instead of using elements, there's different things you can do the physical manifestation of your aura that you can build up in and on top of yourself. So the first category is called like enhancement. Certain people are talented at like increasing their physical strength or speed, or increasing the, I guess, like properties of an already existing object. And you have after that you have like transmutation, which is like changing like your aura to match something else. If you guys are familiar with Hunter x Hunter, that's what Killua does to create his lightning. It's not really lightning; it's just his aura. It mimics things, so it can mimic water, it can mimic anything. So you would be able to use all the elements if you were talented enough at that particular part of Nin. Then you have things like you can detach your aura, you can control inanimate objects or create inanimate objects. You can actually create real objects with this. They don't last forever, but that's a great tool for things like, I would say, building and things like that. But I'm going to get into what abilities I think would be useful.
That might
Before I,
be like the greatest nickel tour of the Hunter x Hunter
oh
power
my
system
god,
I've ever seen in my life, because
yeah,
they take like
look,
17 episodes to explain that shit.
there are videos that are an hour and a half long that explain Nin. I can't do that for you guys right here. I think these guys would not appreciate that.
Go to
But
YouTube.
go to YouTube. It'll give you the full tour. I don't have that much time.
Look,
Um,
so basically, I don't want none of that in. So just give me Gone's fishing pole. That's all I want, bro.
that's it.
You can go to Walmart and buy a fishing pole and get that good
Yeah,
with a
Not
video.
his.
What's that?
Not his. I want his, bro. It could catch
That's
some good
you
shit,
want that
bro.
one? Oh, okay, okay.
Tyler and me share the same isekai dream of just sitting by a lake and fishing and not worrying about what's going on.
Look, I've only watched like 30 episodes of Hunter x Hunter, so I don't have any ideas what happens after that. But all I
Right.
know is that fishing pole, man. I seen
And it
him
was
catch stuff
real.
with it.
Yeah, no, it was. It
Yeah,
was.
he
He's
hasn't
got
even
some
gotten to
amazing
Nen yet
skills.
then, right?
Oh no, I'm about to spoil the shit out of this for you, dog. I
Oh,
apologize.
it's fine, bro. It's fine.
Yeah, this has been
I'll
out for
watch
a
it
long time.
eventually.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just close
I
your
don't
ears. You don't have to listen to the rest of the podcast.
but so I'm gonna give you guys give you guys like the main differences between chakra and nin. So I guess ninjutsu and aura. Um, Jutsu, you're learning it from somebody. You have to learn a technique from somebody. With aura, you can do anything you want with your talents. You can also attain it just by meditating for a period of time. So you could like teach it in school to kids, and say starting in high school, and everybody could have a meditation class. And by the end of high school, most people are going to be able to know how to use Nin. So I thought that was fairly practical. Um, with those skills and people having different abilities, everybody has their own unique abilities. So you say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor. I'm going to use my skills, whatever talents I have, to make my own nin abilities that can help me in that job." So where you have a set amount of jutsu and mainly like what was it Obirama
Shock. Yeah, if
created
you
like freaking jutsu in the show, right? In Hunter x Hunter, everybody creates their own abilities. So I thought that was going to be really powerful. Think about having, you know, millions of people that can help out in their own unique ways, day-to-day life. It would be things like Hisoka's bungee gum, where he turns his aura into like literally what it sounds. It's like a bungee rope that's sticky, right? And he can throw it at things, attach it, and pull it. You could use that for like building instead of having to have C clamps. You could hold things in place while you nail them in. Just very practical. And then even on like a healthcare side or emergency healthcare, you could shut wounds with it till you get to the hospital and they can properly stitch it up. There's
would
also, go
would
ahead.
that be sanitary though?
yeah, it's just aura, dude. It's nothing.
Just
There's nothing in
energy.
it.
Yeah, it's energy.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it's
I
not
thought
physical.
okay. For me, I was
It's like
thinking in my
chakra healing,
mind
really.
like maybe he chewed it up first or something, and then
No, it
made it,
literally is just like his like yeah, a manifestation of his own like life force holding it together. And one broken ass ability I wanted to bring up was what Machi does. She has nin stitches. If somebody cuts your head off, she can put it back on and bring you back to life.
Okay.
nuts. So, I mean, the possibilities with this are limitless. It just comes down to creativity and the amount of time you want to spend developing your own abilities, which is why I thought it was so powerful. There's even a character that can freaking teleport. It's like his
Okay.
own dimension he's created with his nin. It's fucking nuts. I just thought just how how wide you could go with these abilities. It's just limitless potential.
I'm just imagining a bunch of high schoolers right now with a cup with a leaf floating in it, trying to figure out what their affinity is, I guess, and
Yes,
then
yeah.
all getting pissed off when they don't get the one they want.
Nah, they'd be all right. Send them to vocational school. It'd be fun.
We'll go to Vogue school. Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, I just think it's so fucking useful. Like it's only limited by your creativity. Even like Killua uses like Godspeed, where he like if anything touches his nin that he has on top of his body like automatically reacts without his brain doing anything, and he like combats it. It'd be useful for war. I'm trying to stay away from that and stay to the more helpful things. But I think like medical and then like building is like the biggest things for this
It'd be useful
power
for
system.
football, bro.
It would be,
Bungee
yeah.
gum and football, dude.
Oh no,
Yeah, but
the Godspeed, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm imagining Hisoka as a quarterback, just trolling people and
No,
throwing the
imagine
Hail
about to get
Mary and then handing it to a running back after.
imagine handing it to like Killua in in football. Like who can tackle him if he's got reflexes like that, Nobody. He's
No one,
he's gonna be
man.
like
I
mash
think we would
scoring
have
like
to have
Quidditch
different
points.
games, boys. I think we'd have to have different games.
Quidditch.
Yeah. Yeah, or no Nen rules.
Yes, that's the easiest thing. That's the easiest thing. I think it would be really cool for like war for like medical teams or even like an entire um EU unit at a hospital, emergency unit. Biscuit can create other people with magical powers that can heal people.
Okay.
How would that like you would never be overloaded at the hospital if you could just train a few people how to do that over time.
Bro, there's so many parallels to Naruto in this. Like, you got Obito's, transportation stuff, going to a different
Right.
dimension. You got, like you just said, Biscuit. You got like Tsunade slugs, bro. Like imagine you had little slugs rolling around. That's basically the same thing. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Kishimoto actually said he took some inspiration and has been inspired in the past by Togashi, who created Hunter x Hunter. They were serialized within a year of each other, but they were both familiar with each other's work. So that's why the power systems are a little similar.
Yeah, as
That's
long
why I
as
want you to
there's
go first. I don't have 45 minutes to tell them how this how every single thing works. This
as
is the
some
2 cent tour.
as long as somebody gets an ability to make our boy Togashi well again so we can finish the goddamn manga, dude. That's all I
Mhm.
need.
Yes.
Tsunade got you,
God
bro.
bless our mans.
But yeah, I think it's funny because all of what we picked, they all kind of, I mean, mana, aura, chakra, all the same idea, energy that comes from either the world or from within you. And they can all be applied in such crazy ways. I mean, like, I didn't go into too many different types of magic in Black Clover, but there's healing magic, there's offensive magic, there's defensive magic, there's teleportation magic, there's dark magic, time magic, there's fucking everything. So,
Yeah.
like,
What's her
I
name?
think,
Mimosa. Yeah, she my
yeah, she
girl.
has the plants. She's got that green. She's got that good.
She doesn't have the she doesn't have the ability to make great mimosas. It just seems like a wasted character. Um, but yeah, I think it's really cool, like how like there's so many different power systems that would be cool to have in the real world if they weren't just used for straight up evil, like they are
Yeah.
in some parts of each one of our stories. Um, So I think we did a good job being creative on this. And to our audience, if you guys want to share a power system that you would like to see in the real world, hit us up on Discord. Um, leave something in the comments. It's always welcome. We want some feedback and to see what you think as well.
Yeah, I'm retconning everything I said. I want Pokemon. I didn't think that was a good answer. I didn't think we were allowed to say Pokemon, but I want a goddamn team of six, dude.
We could make it work, bro.
It would be so scary though. Like it would just be so scary.
But I would have Pikachu.
Just driving to work and all of a sudden there's a freaking herd of Tauros running in front of you, dude. Terrifying.
Yeah. Like in reality, each one of those Pokemon would be able to kill you fairly easily.
Yeah. But I got a Pokemon that can fight back, dude.
Yeah. And you can just hop on Pidgeotto's back, bro, and fly away.
Until you release Pidgeotto, and then I cry my eyes out.
Yeah.
But awesome, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in for this week's Anime Degens podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday with another episode of the Weekly Rundown, where we're going to be talking about a bunch of shows, but not One Piece because it's a recap episode, Sag.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure to check out our socials. Tyler's been killing on the shorts, as we've said a million times. Come join the Discord. Come give us a little chat ski. Let us know what's going on in your life and what shows you're watching. And we will catch you guys next week.
Peace.